Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Social Disruption Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota.
And I'm your co-host, Dalton.
And today we have a very interesting topic for you guys. We are going to be discussing the history and our love of video games.
Yeah, in continuing with the November Thankful Passion theme, last week we did Dakota's Passion, which was cars. That was a fun episode.
And now we're kind of doing a joint passion between the two of us where we're both very passionate about video games.
We are, all kinds of video games. And to share in our passion of video games, we got a very special friend with us today. Now,
An abundance of alcohol.
that too. Now, Jesus. Now, for those of you that were with us from the very beginning, the very first live episode we did in my apartment in Charleston, you might have seen a live episode I did with a buddy named Andy Washburn about Marvel and DC. Well, we have Andy back in the studio with us today to talk about video games. What's up, Andy?
Heard the slurp. Pleasure to be here, guys.
Did you say heard the slurp?
When he slurped his beer.
Oh, okay. I just thought that was a cool new catchphrase where I heard the slurp, boys.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. So, Andy, do you like video games?
No, I don't, Dalton. It's because I love video games.
Ooh.
Oh, he got my ass. Now, Andy, you as far as age goes, you're just a couple years older than I am. We're not going to say numbers. And I'm just
Thank you.
and I'm just a couple of years older than Dakota. So I'm interested
But
to see.
combined, that means Andy's old as fuck compared to I am.
So I mean,
I love you, buddy. I'm not
I
mad.
know.
so that I'm interested to see how our opinions change with our age, and you know how close Andy and I am, or how close you and I, or how close you and Andy are with our video games. And
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting topic. I'm definitely interested to see both of you guys' opinions on it because it's kind of a subject that we kind of stray away from in normal day-to-day contact with each other.
Yeah.
Because we're so opinionated and we're so passionate about our own beliefs that it honestly kind of turns into an argument every time we talk about it.
Yeah, this
episode might get to be a little loud, so headphone users, prepare your anus. Your ears.
Oh, that too. This may be the one where we actually fist fight.
But nobody's going to see it.
Thought I had something.
Yeah, no one's gonna say it. They'll hear it.
Then it didn't happen. Is it?
Kristen, would you mind recording in case we start the fist fight? Sick. We got a thumbs up, guys.
World Star, here we come. Now,
Smash Bros.
there we go. All right,
That was a good one.
all right, calm down.
Let's take it off the rip right there. What do you guys? Who's your main in Smash Bros?
Smash Brothers is a garbage series.
You're objectively incorrect.
Sorry, we can just edit that out. Mine is going to be either in Smash Bros.
I'm talking all the way back. N64.
Okay,
Who'd you start with?
Just Link.
Okay. I remember you play a lot of Link.
Yeah.
Now, when I did
It's been
play,
Ness from day one with me, boy. PK Fire
who?
to the fucking
PK Fire!
to the end of the universe and back. PK Fire is there for me.
when I was forced to play the game, I played a lot of Kirby.
Who forced you to play a video game?
It was either that or just not play with all my friends. So
Are you just bad at fighting games, or
I don't like fighting games.
okay? So you're just
Did you
bad
play
at
as
them.
Kirby
Mad
'cause you
cause
suck?
bad.
I'm not what?
Did
Mad-
you play as Kirby because you suck?
Yes.
Mad cause bad.
Yes, I just downbeat over and over. You know, where he
Off the
turns
map,
into
you
a
just
stone.
Suicide.
Oh, it was off the map more than it was on. I feel like.
Or you just turn to the brick and...
Yeah, you just break down, but it does so much damage if it hits somebody. But no. So that's enough about Smash for the whole episode. But I'll probably come back to it. Whatever. But Andy, give us a little run through of your video game history before we decide to jump in with the PS1 era.
Sure.
I mean, you're trying to make a career out of video games at this point, aren't you?
Ooh,
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
We're gonna
Yeah.
plug his
Let's
stream.
plug that ass real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, for anybody that's linked to this from my Twitch, this is ice cream sandwich. Actually, ice cream _ cream _ sandwich, which I the real ice cream sandwich I guess was really already taken. But if you're joining this from Twitch, this is Andy. It's my real name. Salty Sweet Gaming is my page over on Facebook. And,
We can link
yeah,
all that shit.
All this is gonna
We
get
will.
linked together. These are my two wholesome boys right here.
Hell yeah.
So a little bit on my history. I remember it was Christmas 1992, and my
Taking
grandma.
it way back.
Yeah, way back.
I wasn't even alive.
Going way back. And I was like 4 years old at that time. All right.
Okay.
All right. 4 years old. And I got this birthday present, or not birthday, but Christmas present from my grandmother. And it was this really, really big box. And I opened it up, and it said Sega Genesis, and I really didn't know what it was. And like, because I didn't really play any other video games except for like an old-fashioned Game Boy that we had. And it came with Sonic 2. So Sonic 2 was my very first console video game.
Wow,
and,
okay.
And like as soon as my parents helped me get it set up and everything, playing it on Christmas morning, like I was hooked. This little blue hedgehog running from the left side of the screen trying to get to the right side was just absolutely captivating so much that I just like I just gave up on friends, on family, hopes and dreams, and I just wanted to game all day long.
And you never looked back.
Yeah, I really didn't. So that's where it started for me, was that. And then you span more Sega Genesis games, for everybody that dealt with, early consoles, the struggle of, blowing into the cartridge and nudging it back in, slamming it in harder is going to make it work better.
That was a really good tip for your sex life later on in life, though. So shout outs to the N64 for teaching us how to fuck.
All right.
I'm not even censoring myself anymore because I know your mom doesn't watch anymore because we schmack fat vapes.
We schmack fat vapes. Sorry, Mom. If you are still here.
I'm also a little drunk, so this episode's going to be a little more on the nose.
He's getting worse throughout the episode, y'all.
Yeah.
Strap in.
Anybody that linked this from my Twitch, this is mature rated at this point. If you're under 18, you have been warned.
Yeah.
Don't go complaining to your parents, okay?
And if you're over 18, hit up Andy.
Hey.
All right, fine.
All right, Dalton, what was your first video game? Do you remember your first video game experience?
Yeah, I do. I think like the first one I distinctly remember was a computer game called Spy Fox.
Ooh, I thought
Dry
you were
cereal?
go, 7 or whatever the
Oh, Seventh Guest with my parents. Yeah, there was that one too. That was what they played. Of course, me and my brother didn't get to play that. But I had like Freddy Fish, Spy Fox, and the first console game I ever played, I believe, was Rayman. It came with the PS1.
Okay.
So the PlayStation 1.
I've got Rayman Legends on the PlayStation if you want to go back and
I would.
relive your childhood.
Revisit it a little bit. That'd be really cool. But
it's a lot of fun.
I remember that, and like the first, I went from there to like Crash Bandicoot and some of that stuff. But before we get like too far into that,
platformers.
A lot of platformers, which we'll talk about in the PS1 era. Dakota, do you remember the first video game you ever played?
I'm kind of getting a timeline of all of the games that I played to give you an idea of what the oldest one is.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let me come back to that in just a minute, and I will let you know. But
Okay.
I'm gonna step off for a second and do a little research and make sure I'm not telling you guys lies.
Okay, good call.
While he's doing that, like I remember like my first interest in video games. Of course, like I said, my brother had an original Game Boy, but my parents had the old Windows where you had of course you had Oregon Trail. You had
Of course.
the 5.5-inch floppy or whatever it was, and then you also had Wolfenstein 3D was really revolutionary when it came out, and then of course they piggybacked Doom right off of that. The Alone in the Dark series, I think, was also an old school.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and then there was also just various computer games like we played as kids. Like we had Mickey's Runaway Zoo, Donald's Alphabet Chase, Math Blaster, Reader Rabbit, all those.
Reader Rabbit, man.
Yeah.
That takes me back.
Yeah.
Let's kind of break down gaming over the years. I think it'd be easier to do it like by era, by console. Let's just now. I didn't have a console till the PS1, so that's kind of where I'm gonna start, and we're gonna include the N64 in this as well, since those were kind of comparable systems. I didn't have a Nintendo product in my house till the Game Boy Pocket. So I didn't have an N64, NES, nothing like that. So my first console was a PS1 with Rayman, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro.
So we get to the three-dimensional era.
And
My first console was actually a PS1 as well.
Oh, nice. Hell
And
yeah.
the first game that I ever played actually stemmed my last week's topic for my passion for cars.
Okay.
I remember my like very first video game that I ever played like myself without help was the original Twisted Metal.
Nice.
And that shit to this day slaps. Like
Dude, it's
I
so good.
love Twisted Metal, and that like spawned my love of cars, driving, being violent on the road. You know, like all of my driving tendencies today are as if I actually have weapons in my vehicle. I don't,
Clown
but
paint.
I drive as if I did. I mean, I look like a clown driving anyways. I drive a hatchback that's orange. I look like a clown. But yeah, so that's the start for me. Like obviously I played some of the older like NES games later on, like the original side-scroller Marios and stuff like that, and then I got really big into like I think my favorite Mario game ever was Super Mario 3 for the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
The first time they introduced the Tanuki suit and like the where you could fly, all kinds of stuff like that. Like that was really cool, and that actually got me to really like Luigi because I played with my older brother and he played on Mario's life and I played on Luigi's life, and that actually ended up making green one of my favorite colors. And I like Luigi better than Mario in all of the games that you can play as him, like Smash and all the other side games and stuff. I pick Luigi before I pick Mario.
I feel that.
Just
that makes
because
sense to me.
that's who I grew up with. I was the younger brother. I grew up as the less favorite Mario brother. So,
Okay.
The one who lived in the shadow.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Andy, what about you? PS1 era. What games were you playing?
PS1 era, when I got introduced to PlayStation 1, I was very Spyro. I was
I never played Spyro.
So good.
man,
I
it's
have
so
the
good.
I have the reimagined trilogy
Yeah.
on PlayStation. If you ever
Really?
want to play it,
I'll have to try it out. Yeah, I've never played them.
It's really really good. Yeah, like at Spyro, I had oh man, let's see here.
We're intentionally leaving out the big one because we're going to talk about that separately.
Yeah. There were, like I said, there was Spyro, there was Crash Bandicoot. Remember Parappa the Rapper?
Mm-hmm.
Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah,
The
Parappa
original
Rapper.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Well, not the
I
original,
fucking love Ninja Gaiden.
but the
dude.
PS1.
Like there was a game
Reboot.
called I think it was just called Counter-Strike. It wasn't the Counter-Strike, first-person shooter that we've got now, but it was actually you took this helicopter and you're just going around like shooting up little bad guy bases and that kind
Right.
of stuff.
Okay.
And then of course you had the introduction of the Metal Gear series. Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid was probably like the best game that I ever played. I felt like on PS1.
A name created by Hideo Kojima.
Shoutouts to Death Stranding.
Yeah, we'll be name dropping Kojima often in this
Several
episode.
times throughout this
Yeah.
show. Not that we ever understood a single fucking thing he ever did, but we enjoyed it.
Now, I didn't play a whole lot of Metal Gear. I played the first 2 games, and didn't really play anything he did after that. I played a little bit of Phantom Pain.
I actually got into Metal Gear with Phantom Pain.
Yeah.
And I had no fucking idea what I was getting myself into. I thought it was just another milsim, like Ghost Recon style, and then everything started going all demons and like devils and all kinds of stuff, and I was like, what the entire fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I have no idea.
Once you get introduced to the scrolls, it was like, what? All right.
I was like, I didn't know that this is what I was signing up for, and frankly, I don't know if like I didn't sign the permission slip for this field trip.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was the vibe I got from the first Metal Gear, was that like it just it seems like it's just a very straightforward like Spec Ops game, but there's elements about it, supernatural elements, like when you're introduced to Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis was such a good fight.
Yeah, and it was the first time that like they ever in order to fight Psycho Mantis to where he could not predict your moves, like you actually unplugged your first player controller and plugged it into the second player port mid game.
Yeah.
So you could fight him and he wouldn't read your
Controller.
read your controller, which was like it's just mind blowing to come up with that kind of creativity.
Absolutely
in a fight.
wild.
Yeah.
Didn't he like fuck with the volume on your TV too? Or like pretended to, you know?
Yeah.
Like some shit like that too.
Yeah, so like
Some real fourth wall breaking shit. It was awesome.
I love Fourth Wall.
Oh, it's every time it's done and it's done well, it's fucking amazing. Now, a very very early memory I have, with the PlayStation 1 is there was it was called Movie Gallery, basically just a chain smaller than Blockbuster. where you
Right,
can
I
rent
remember
movies and games.
Blockbuster wannabe.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I remember Movie Gallery.
Yeah, there was one right up the road from us, and Mom would let me and Dustin get a game every now and then. And we got this one game, and she let us get it because it was rated T, not M. It was called Final Fantasy VII.
My
And-
heart.
I'm done.
I mean, he'll be back. You can honestly, if you yell stuff from there, we'll probably pick you up.
I'll be back when I know something about what we're talking about.
Okay, fair enough.
So, well, first off, side note, before even talking about the story, that was what opened my eyes to what memory cards actually were, because I guess I was just stupid. Because I remember we rented that game for a full 5 days, took it back, rented it again like the next month, and were just flabbergasted when we were left off at the place where we stopped the last time. Because we were like, yo, we know what to do now. We know how to get farther, faster. And so we turned it on, and it was exactly where we left off last time we got it. We were just like, what? You know, because we just didn't understand how memory cards worked. But, and for the viewers, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. It actually might be tied with another one we'll talk about later, but Final Fantasy VII is either 1 or 2, depending on the year. I think it is the closest thing to a perfect video game that can ever exist. And yeah, Andy, what's your experience with it? Because I know you said it was your heart, which I know to be true.
Well, it's like I got introduced to it back in, it was like 1999, I think. I went over to my friend's house, and he had a PlayStation. I didn't actually own the PlayStation. My friend did, and that's where I played all my PlayStation games because I was still on the Nintendo 64. And that's when I got introduced to Final Fantasy VII. It was probably the first JRPG that I've ever played. And I was just captivated by the story, and I understood that, like, okay, well, if it's the 7th one, it probably means there was another 6 before it. But they're not linear as far as any continuity. They're all each their own story in their own right. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy series, but 7 was just it kind of revolutionized the fancier graphics that they were starting to come out with on the PlayStation.
Yes.
And just you fell in love with the characters right away. And like every time I get off the bus at my parents' house, I go throw my bag in the front door, I'd shut it. I'd run across the golf course over to my buddy Bobby's house, and I'd go over there, and we'd start playing Final Fantasy VII for like 4 or 5 hours, till my parents yelled at the phone, and I had to go home. But I still play it to this day. Like, I'm actually getting a lot better at it. I do stream it every once in a while on my stream. Not quite good enough to speed run it yet. Just kind of fun running it till I'm getting used to it. I'm starting to get more of the finer details of how you can manipulate certain elements of the game to get yourself further quicker, like you mentioned. Like,
right.
You know, like when I found out about Tifa's Power Soul death sentence combination in critical health, that's just the most OP thing I've seen in a video game.
Yeah. I remember specifically that was one of the first times, because, you know, it came out, I think I probably caught it like a year after it came out, so 98, I was 7 years old. That's when you're like old enough as a little boy to be like, hey, I don't cry anymore. I'm a big boy, blah, 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 blah. But we're not going to spoil it. I know it's like a 20-something-year-old game, but we're not going to spoil it. But there's a major death in the series that is one of the most famous video game scenes of all time. And it made 7-year-old Dalton cry.
Especially amongst JRPG fans. You know, I mean, like, everybody's got their own taste of games. Some people are just sports fans. You know, they play Madden, they play, you know, Tiger Woods PGA Tour or whatever's going on. And some people are just racing games. Some people are just, you know, the Call of Duty fanatics. And there's other people that play, you know, JRPGs and Final Fantasy.
Speaking of JRPGs, do you guys consider Pokemon a JRPG?
I think I would.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because what defines an RPG to me, a role-playing game, is that you've got a set of characters that you can grow and customize in your own way to carry you throughout a story.
But is Pokemon too vast to be considered a JRPG?
I don't think so.
No.
Let me see if the internet defines it as a JRPG.
Yeah, and I guess we can include Game Boy Pockets in the same era as the PlayStation 1. I think they came out roughly around the same time.
That and Color.
Yeah,
Game Boy
Game Boy
Color.
Yeah,
that was another one. Like, I remember playing Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, and it was all just so black and white. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a good game. But then when it came out, DX for the color, and everything was colorized, I was like, oh man, this is so gorgeous.
Pokemon. That was probably the next major series I fell in love with, because I have a twin brother, if y'all don't know, and basically he would always get one version, I would get the next, and we'd share the special version. I got blue, he got red. We both shared yellow.
Yellow slapped.
Yellow
was
so good.
one of my favorite games.
Yellow
And I'm not
was-
even like
Yellow
I'm
was
not a
the-
Gen 1er by anything, but I love Yellow.
Yellow
and it's
was the
always gonna
most
be one of my
closely
favorites.
related to the anime series where you kept running into Team Rocket.
Yeah,
every
where
once in a
Pikachu-
while.
You had
Yeah,
the Pikachu that followed you around outside of the Pokeball, and it was so in step with the anime. It was like watching yourself play the game
Yeah.
on TV when
Yeah.
you watch the show.
And then
Shout outs to my girl Butterfree. I cry every time.
F's in the chat, yo.
We don't even have a chat.
We're going to, and I want y'all to put F's in it. Thank you, Andy.
I'm holding up an F with my fingers.
Yeah, Pokemon
like
was great. We can touch back on Pokemon as they, as we evolve.
I hated that.
Yeah. Any other staple PS1 games we move on before we move into the Xbox One?
Wait, hold on.
what?
The original Xbox or the Xbox One?
The first Xbox,
The original, just the fat old Xbox.
just with the Duke controller.
Okay, well before you move on to PS1, another revolutionary series was the Resident Evil one. And the
Oh, we're gonna talk about Resident Evil the whole night.
because the first Resident Evil game that I actually played was Nemesis
Okay.
3. So that was
The first
Oh.
Resident Evil game I ever played was Resident Evil 0. And I never got past the first mission because I couldn't figure out the controls. Because you start off on that dumbass train, and I never figured out how to get off of it. And I never actually beat that game. I never even beat the first mission because I couldn't figure out how to get off the train.
The first one I played was 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the first one I
Okay.
played. And
I actually took a big break from Resident Evil after I tried to play Resident Evil 0 because I was just like, fuck these games,
It's
dude.
like,
They
maybe,
Yeah.
suck.
maybe these just aren't for
Like
me.
the next Resident Evil game I played after that was 4, and we're gonna talk a lot about 4 in a little while.
well, see, Mom
So,
never let us get rated M games. We would kind of have to sneak them like with Dad. Dad would get them for us.
My mother, bless her heart, is ignorant about video games. She
Yeah.
doesn't know shit.
That's
about
kind of what
shit
Mom was
when
too.
it comes to that. She didn't even know that ratings were a thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What's this M? Oh, that means it's for me."
It's my gaming system was in my dad's office, so the TV was right there, so he could supervise whatever it was I was playing.
Oh no,
So-
we had an old CRT.
So there was no
Same.
way he was
In the
going to let me
bedroom.
play some zombie shooter, so I had to borrow it. Rest in peace, my buddy Vinny Brown from middle school.
Pour some out for the homies.
Yeah, for real. And so he let me borrow it, and I got to play it, and I fell in love with it. And then when we continue on with Resident Evil, going into 4 and the next gen consoles, that really revolutionized like what that game series was going to do
Yeah.
for my life.
That's a good segue into the next section. What console did you play Resident Evil 4 on?
I played Resident Evil 4 on the PS4. I'm sorry, PS2. Excuse me.
Okay, I was about to slap you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If you ain't play that shit till the PS4, I would say you missed out your whole childhood.
Wait a
I
minute,
played it
wait
on
a minute.
I played it on the GameCube
Yeah.
because I was a Nintendo boy. I
I didn't have a
had
GameCube, but I
Game Boy
wanted one
Color.
so bad.
I had a Game Boy Color. I had a Game Boy Advance. I had an SP. The only one I didn't have was the Micro. Do you even remember the Micro?
Yeah, vaguely.
Do you remember the Game Boy Micro?
No,
I'll show it to you.
maybe.
You'll remember it when I show it to you.
My
And then
cousin
I had a
Tanner.
GameCube. I had a Wii. I didn't have a Wii U because I fucking blew dick. But I had it. I've bought and sold 4 Switches
I had a Tamagotchi.
because I just can't justify continuing to keep it because I just don't like a whole lot of the games. Also, fuck Sword and Shield.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too probably.
Yeah.
My cousin Tanner had the Nintendo consoles, so that's how I played a lot of Super Mario Sunshine, Eternal Darkness for the GameCube, and like Pokemon. I played Pokemon Snap on his N64. Yeah, I remember those vaguely. I played Pokemon Snap on his N64 and shit like that. So like,
Shoutouts to all my dudes calling for a Pokemon Snap remaster.
we need it. We're overdue.
It's like, like that.
You know what?
Yeah, that's going into the next. Yeah, we kind of introduced the next gen. So I mean, like N64 is when I played Pokemon Snap. Did you want to start off on it? I'll let you start.
No,
on it.
I'm going based off of we need a remaster of Pokemon Snap. You know what we actually need? We need a follow-up to XD Gale of Darkness.
Yeah,
Because
that was
we
a
had
good
we
game.
had Coliseum. We had Coliseum 2. We had XD. And then no more console spin-offs. Ever. Get your shit together, Game Freak. We don't need Sword and Shield. We need XD2.
Well, it's like You know, you
Roar
had.
XD of Darkness.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the Roaring 20s, boy.
It sure as fuck is.
I remember when Pokemon Snap came out, and my friends had it,
The hard inflection on the
and,
E.
and I never had it. So like one Sunday afternoon, like my dad actually called Blockbuster to see if they finally had a copy of Pokemon Snap sitting on the shelf, and the guy said, "Yeah, we got one." And my dad looked at me. He's like, "You got one?" I was like, he's like, "All right, can you hold it? We're on our way. Like, we'll be there in like 10 minutes." And so I got to play it that afternoon, and it was so captivating because you just get to see Pokemon in the wild. You're not fighting anything. It's just you're getting to see so many different Pokemon in their natural environment, but you didn't get to see all 150 of them.
It's wholesome.
So, yeah, it was. And now that you've got, you know, like what, 6 gens now?
8.
Eight
The 8 one is
8
currently
gens of
coming out.
Pokemon. Do you have any idea how much they can expand that game if they did a remaster or just a Pokemon Snap 2 where you go to some new island, you know, and you can see shinies, you can see all sorts of different gens.
They missed the opportunity hard as fuck with the Wii U. That would have been the perfect console for a Pokemon Snap,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, because it's so heavily incorporated motion controls.
Right.
I mean, the Switch has done so as well, but I don't think it's as much of a focus. I think the Switch focus
Is the
the fact that
Joy-Cons.
you can take it on the go.
And the Joy-Cons come off the Switch itself. So you don't hold the whole thing like this as much as you do just taking the Joy-Cons off.
Yeah.
But what about... So let's move into the PS2 original Xbox era. I had an original Xbox. It was just a Halo machine.
I don't remember a single other game that ever came out for the original Xbox besides Halo 1.
I do. Unreal Tournament.
Oh,
I never
okay.
played Unreal.
I played it on a friend, Wesley, the guest from last week. I played it on his computer back in the day, so I didn't even play it on Xbox.
So whenever I would play it on my buddy's Xbox, like the control style was really weird. It's like you had it was the first time you had to incorporate using the right control stick.
Right, because you had 2 sticks for the first time.
You had to use the right stick to move and the left stick to look around was the control style that I saw. And it was Greek to me at that point. But when I played it on the PC,
Did you ever learn how to speak Greek?
I killed. No, I didn't. Sorry, Kratos.
But you did learn how to play on the game controller, right?
Yeah, eventually
Okay,
I did.
good.
But yeah, I mainly just used the Xbox for a Halo machine because I didn't even know what it was when I went to my buddy's house. I just see this big black box that's in the shape of an X. I mean, like, I guess it doesn't get any more plain than that. It's
Right.
an X box.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we had one, but we had a party game called Fusion Frenzy. We had Halo, and that might have actually been it. The PS2 got a lot of love in the Llewellyn household.
like,
Oh yeah.
I
mean,
think
the PS2 was
I feel like
significantly better than the Xbox.
I feel like out of all the gen consoles, the PS2 probably had it's probably the best run as far as games.
I would give
quality and
GameCube a close second, but Xbox was definitely not there yet.
Yeah.
I would
Granted, the Xbox was just getting into the console race, whereas Nintendo had the NES, the Super Nintendo, and then they had the GameCube, and then or the N64 even, the N64 and then the GameCube. Because they were 4 deep, and then PlayStation had the original PS1 and then the PlayStation 2, so they were already in the game as well. So,
Right.
I mean, if you really look at all the mother corporations, like you had Atari, then you had Sega, then you have Nintendo, and then you have the PlayStation by Sony. If you're seeing the drift, is that you're getting all Japanese companies are creating these game consoles, and then when Microsoft,
all of a
Mr.
sudden,
Big Billy Gates,
America
decided-
comes out with their Schmeat hanging,
Yeah.
like, yo, we got a console now too, boys.
Yeah. So that was kind of revolutionary to bring the U.S. into that console race. So it was kind of like people were reluctant to get on track with it, but once it really took off, like in the next gen, then people started really getting on board with the Xbox 360.
I will reluctantly say that the Xbox 360 was better than the PS3, but in my opinion, that's false.
Yeah, we'll get there. That doesn't make any sense. But we'll jump there next. That's when gaming really took off into the mainstream. I feel like was the next gen,
PS3,
specifically
Xbox
the
360.
360. But as far as PS2 goes, what games were you playing?
I never had a PS2. I never had an Xbox.
Okay, so you
I
skipped the
only
whole
ever
generation.
I only ever played at friends' houses, so I got a lot of offline multiplayer Halo.
Okay,
That's pretty much it for Gen 2.
okay.
To get my PlayStation 2, what I had to do is I took all my stuff to, before it was GameStop, it was Electronics Boutique.
Yeah,
Games?
Games.
No, not before.
Is that not what EB Games is?
Well, I mean, like it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I think before it changed its name to EB Games, it was actually just straight Electronics Boutique.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
You're old as fuck.
Yes, thank you. So, anywho, so I took all my Dreamcast games. I took all my N64. Like I put it all on the table right there, and they finally gave me a total, and we were able to get a PS2. And the first 2 games that me and my brother got were, Dragon Ball Z Budokai was the fighting game, and the other one was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Yeah, those games were dope.
Because we wanted a 2-player co-op game, and that was the first game we played on PS2. Was that, and like it was just like he was always Aragorn, I was always Legolas. He'd always get mad when I started getting like the light arrows where I was shooting like 3 at a time and just wiping out everybody on the map. He's like, "You're not letting me get any points," and I'm like, "Well, then don't be Aragorn."
Yeah.
You know, but so that's what started me off into PS2, and then from there it kind of spanned out to. Again, going back to the Metal Gear series, all hail Lord Kojima.
Thank you, bless Kojima.
Yeah. Is that when he came out with Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, when that came out for the PS2? Because at this point, you were starting to get some of the bigger, well-known franchises that were getting well-known on the PlayStation 1 were getting sequels on the PS2. So those were like the biggest games that were up and coming.
And not only were they like sequels just in the story sense, but they looked better.
They had
played
higher
better.
graphics. They had better frame rates. They had more content. They were longer. It was more fulfilling experiences across all platforms in all facets.
Because PS2 really brought in a new era of platformers where Sony was putting up brand new franchises and IPs to match the Resident Evils and all these like Final Fantasies.
When did the first God of War come out? Was that PS2 or was that PS3?
I don't remember.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation
Was
2.
it?
Yeah.
And they also had Jack and Dexter. That was the first one of those was PS2. Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper.
Shelby was just playing Ratchet and Clank earlier.
Yeah, I was talking about like I kind of refer to those as the big 3 of that era of platforming, like the goofy, cartoony, animal character style.
We have Spyro. We have
Spyro and Crash.
Spyro,
the PS1
Crash. I mean, Crash Bandicoot came back.
I mean, all of them are all throughout Sony's catalog.
So we have Spyro, Crash,
Because
Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter.
Because Spyro 2 was Ripto's Rage, and that was on PS1. But the first one for Spyro game for PS2 was Year of the Dragonfly.
Year of the Dragonfly, yeah.
And that was on PlayStation 2. But also the
I
greatest...
think I played that one on my Game Boy.
I think there was a port on the Game
What
Boy.
was the Game Boy version?
But the greatest franchise of all time came out on the PS2.
I swear to God, if you
Here
say
it comes.
Kingdom Hearts. Boy, let me tell. So Kingdom Hearts is the greatest franchise of games ever made. In the
Season of Ice
Season of Ice. Oh,
was
okay.
the Game Boy game.
Wasn't there also a Season of Fire?
I think so, yeah.
I think there was like 2. It was like a double release.
I think it's like a version
Like
type
a
thing.
Pokemon,
Like Pokemon, yeah.
like a thing.
Season of Ice, Season of Fire, yeah.
But Kingdom Hearts is the greatest series ever made of all time.
That's an opinion. That
With
is
no
not fact.
content. That is actually factual.
Let's
information.
look it up.
But if you want to argue with it, you're free to go get a mic and some amps and some laptop and get a show going on, and you can voice your opinion about it.
I mean, we're going to do a full episode on Kingdom Hearts one day at some point. But that reminds me, since he's pulling it up and looking at it, I asked you boys a couple questions earlier.
This is really interesting because I'm not seeing Kingdom Hearts anywhere.
How can Minecraft be a franchise when it's just one game?
There's Minecraft for the console, there's Pocket Edition, and then there's Minecraft Story Mode. So I would give that a franchise.
All right.
There's also a live
There's a cult following of it. Yes, I know.
interaction series on Netflix.
Okay.
Well, that was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Anyway, so I guess what Dalton's trying to say is like, You know, if you were a fan of the Final Fantasy franchise and you're a fan of Disney, then
Which
you
I
had,
was neither.
Yeah, okay. You know, you can chime in later than Dakota.
Or you just chime in never.
There's different opinions for different people. You can't just
Sure, but I'm just
call your opinion a
I'm
fact.
I'm just trying to understand him. So if you were a fan of Disney, you're a fan of Final Fantasy, and you like these two separate worlds that you didn't think were ever going to have anything to do with each other, and then I will always call them Squeenix, not Square Enix. Back when they were, I think back when they were SquareSoft, I think is when the first Kingdom Hearts came out.
Yeah, it was still
Yeah,
SquareSoft.
it's still SquareSoft. They decided to team up with Disney and bring some of their characters in, and they brought these two franchises together, Final Fantasy and Disney, and they created a game franchise called Kingdom Hearts. Dalton, if you want to go ahead.
It was actually it's not a rumor. It's actually a true fact. They met in a hotel, elevator. A member from Squeenix or SquareSoft at the time and Disney just goofing off, pitching various games. Disney was pitching a game off of a movie they were releasing at the time. I don't remember which one. And they were just goofing off, and Square was pitching Final Fantasy X. And they just goofed off about making a game, exchanged contact information, and the Kingdom Hearts series was born. It was legitimately groundbreaking because it's just two franchises you never thought would have done anything together. And the game itself, if you even didn't have Disney names or Final Fantasy like IP characters, it's still just a really fucking good RPG. And you just don't like RPGs, so that's why you don't like it.
That's not even kind of true. I don't like JRPGs.
Oh, well, that applies then. You don't like JRPGs, so that you wouldn't like it anyway.
But it, like the
Aside from the
gaming
large
mechanics,
Pokemon tattoo I have.
the gaming mechanics
count.
made it.
How does Pokemon not count as a JRPG? Let's talk about that for a second.
Did you Google it?
Yeah,
What did it say?
it's a JRPG.
Okay, I thought so.
That doesn't count.
How?
It just doesn't count because it's yours. And so it doesn't count.
Okay. So you're just being a dickhead.
Okay, well while they're fighting, I'm gonna go ahead and continue and say what Kingdom Hearts introduced was like it just seems like the combo system in that was much more free flowing than anything else I'd ever seen before in any kind of JRPG. Like
What, Kingdom Hearts 1?
Yeah. Well, in 1, and then they definitely stepped it up in 2.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what you're saying. It's not turn-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 1, I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best game in the franchise. But
It is. They really stepped their game up with that one. They added a whole lot of, like, I guess, you know, they kind of dipped their toe in the water with the first game to see how people were going to react to it, if it was going to sell well, and when it did, they just went all out with the second one, and they introduced a lot more worlds, and not only that, they're getting like the original voices of these characters back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the original voice of Aladdin, and like all these like James Woods reprising his role of Hades. I mean, like it was like there was a real budget put into this, and it really paid off.
yeah. And plus, they just got a bunch of high-list actors for the characters that hadn't been voiced before. And then just some weird choices, admittedly. Not Hayden Panettiere. Haley Joel Osment as Sora, who had been in The Sixth Sense at that time. David Boreanaz as Leon. Lance Bass as Sephiroth.
Yes, the Lance Bass from
NSYNC as Sephiroth, one of the most known villains of all gaming. It was just great. We'll stop talking so much about Kingdom Hearts. But that was my PS2 in a whole. But
we'll chime in more on that on the Kingdom Hearts episode.
But real quick, can you guys guess what the highest selling PS2 games of all time were? And I'm talking about copies sold.
Idea.
And this is super interesting.
I never even owned a PS2, so I have no input.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try and give it a stab.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna try and give it a
You
stab.
want to stab me while you're at it?
Sure.
Hell
Give me a knife.
Hold on.
I'm gonna give you 3 guesses, and then I'm gonna give you a hint and let you take more guesses.
Well, like, I mean, like, are we actually talking about like?
We're talking about copies sold.
Okay, like you said the most. You're talking about like the top 3, the
top 5.
Okay, top 5. All right.
You're actually just enunciating with a knife now.
Yeah, like the top 5 games. I would say, like revolutionary. God of War 2. I feel like it'd be one of those.
That's not even.
What is that?
That's not even a list.
It's not. I mean,
That's not even a list.
That's
2 games from 2 series,
Well, see, you spoiled it.
and then another one. No, I didn't.
That's the most vague thing I could ever hear.
Okay, the top 5 has 3 total series in it. How about
Okay,
that?
okay, fine. Pay attention to me while I get this big cleaver in my hand or
Yeah.
knife in my hand. Okay. I'm gonna say God of War 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
What does that have to do with you?
Let's see here. Grand Theft Auto 3.
That is the one you got correct.
Okay. So
That is number 4.
Okay.
And that's Vice City.
Okay. Vice City is.
Let's go.
Wait, no, Vice City's not 3,
No,
is it?
No. There's 3, and then there's Vice City.
Yeah.
Okay,
Three
no,
came
never
after.
mind.
And then San Andreas.
That's the series.
San Andreas was
Yeah.
the number 1 video game of the PS2. How many copies?
I don't know. Maybe 18 mil.
17.3.
Nice.
Good
Hell yeah,
job.
dude.
That's close. All right.
The next series is Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo 3 with 14.9 million.
I was gonna say Need for Speed, but
And then Vice City with 9.6.
Or Gran Turismo
Or Gran
4.
Turismo 4. So Gran Turismo 3 and then Gran Turismo 4 were the 2 and 3. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was 9.6 in 4th place. And then Final Fantasy X with 8 million.
okay. Final Fantasy X was one that I guessed earlier.
And then but the top 6 has 3 different Grand Theft Auto games. 7 is Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. 8 is Final Fantasy 12. Then Tekken 5. Then Kingdom Hearts is number 10. God of War is 11.
The OG God of War.
Wow.
Dragon Quest 8.
Madden,
and then Madden
25,
2005,
God of War
and then
2,
God of War 2.
Jack and Daxter, Final Fantasy 10, blah blah blah. So yeah, when I looked that up earlier, I thought that was super interesting that the top 5 is consisted of. Well, the top 4 is just 2 series. It's just Gran Turismo and Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Which I believe still at the time of recording this, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best-selling video game of all time.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think
I
so.
personally have bought it 3 times.
I've never played any Grand Theft Auto games.
I know. I
in my
remember you
life.
saying that. That's crazy. They're super fun. I got 5
You
on the
serious?
PlayStation.
I've never played any Grand Theft Auto game before.
All right. We'll fix that later.
Yeah, but
Okay. So, you want to go ahead and move on to
the 360,
okay.
the
So
big one. Hold on, I'm not,
GTA 5 is number 3.
of all time.
Yep.
What's the first 2?
Minecraft Tetris.
Okay, I don't think I would have ever guessed
Here we
either
go.
one of
Yeah.
those.
Here we go. Minecraft, Tetris, GTA 5, Wii Sports,
Who bought Wii Sports?
It came
and
with
then
the-
PUBG.
it came with the Wii.
Who bought?
Did,
Dude, Wii Sports and PUBG are free.
did somebody
Minecraft-
rage quit the game and then said, "Oh man, I gotta get this disc again now"?
Minecraft, Tetris, GTA 5, Wii Sports, PUBG, Super Mario, Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, Wii Fit, Mario Kart Wii, Wii Sports Resort.
How
do
just
we-
counting those with the Wii
1,
sales?
2, 3. We got 4 Wii games in the top 10, boy. The Wii sucked.
Dude, they're taking into account the actual Wii sold. If you bought a copy of Wii Sports, the original or deluxe,
Hold on.
hit us
Wii
up.
Sport Resort slapped.
Oh, they're great, but no one bought them.
I'm about to go buy a Wii next time I get paid.
I would love to play Wii Sports again, honestly. How
I
much?
have it at my house.
Boy, bring that Wii over here.
You remember that the
Oh, we played
video of
bowling
me?
that night. Yeah.
Like I've got and not only do I have a Nintendo Wii, like back when
You got the hot ass Tron controllers too.
yes, exactly. Like when Tron Legacy came out back in 2010, they were selling controllers for the Xbox, for the PS3, and for the PlayStation Wii, and they were all like $50, $60 at a time. And now I've looked online to see how much those controllers are worth, and they're like $250 a piece, and I have 3 of them.
Damn.
I've got the PS3 controllers still sitting in the box back to my parents' house, and then I've got 2 of the Wii controllers sitting at my house.
Is the PlayStation controller like NRFB or
It's cordless. I mean it's corded.
is it like still in the box, like never used?
Yeah.
That's probably worth even more.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah, it's at my parents' house.
As far as like finding a Wii and copies of Wii Sports, I bet you can find a Wii on sale right now for like $30.
Let's check that GameStop app, boy.
Either GameStop or Facebook Marketplace.
Better Amazon.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to sell it on Amazon.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
But the next series, the next gen of consoles was, to me, one of the best consoles of all time. I'm a Sony fanboy saying this. The 360. The Xbox 360. Like,
I will admit, being a PS3 man,
$120 at GameStop. Hard pass.
fuck, what?
For what?
A Wii.
The Wii.
No.
Yeah, fuck. Don't look at GameStop.
No.
That's
No,
they're a dying company. They're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to
to
save
survive.
themselves.
Yeah.
Like if you bought that and took it back in the same day, they'd probably give you like $25 for it.
$6.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's an overdone joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overdone, just like their stock drop. Anyway,
Ew.
all right. So yeah, I do have to agree with you on that, Dalton. And like as a PS3 fan, I gotta say like one thing that I did love about the 360 was how interchangeable the hard drives were.
Yeah.
Like that was so convenient because when I ran out of like I got the 60 gig one, and once I ran out of space, like I had to go get a 100 gig laptop.
Big ass
drive.
clip-on hard drive for the side.
No, like I actually like went inside and actually changed out the hard drive, but I had to transfer everything to another PlayStation just so I could put my new hard
Yeah.
drive. back
PlayStation
in
didn't
there.
make it easy at all.
Yeah, it
Oh,
didn't.
I
yeah.
thought you were talking about the Xbox.
Well,
Yeah,
he was.
I
He was talking about how easy it was.
Yeah,
Oh, I
like,
got
that
you.
was so much easier.
I got a
to
better
use.
listing for the Wii, by the way, on Facebook Marketplace.
What?
We've got the Wii, the motion sensor, a Wii Fit board, 2 controllers, 2 nunchucks, and 2 games. $85.
That's better. Yeah.
That's Christmas right there.
I'd be set, dude.
Yeah. But
So yeah, and so I feel like in the PS3 360 era was like much more gaming started becoming much more mainstream, not just amongst gamers, but everybody started becoming gamers.
that's when I first remember like big game commercials, like the ad campaign for Halo 2. Absolutely bonkers. Mountain Dew came out with Game Fuel, which, as Dakota was talking to me about like a couple nights ago, the original Game Fuel was for WoW. Is that what you
Yep.
said? World of
Yeah,
Warcraft.
OG Game Fuel was like Horde versus Alliance for WoW, and those actually ended up turning into Voltage and Code Red.
Nice,
And then
because I love Code Red.
Voltage is my favorite.
Yeah,
they started
So
putting
I guess
Master
we're gonna have
Chief
to
on the
fight.
Game Fuel ones.
yeah.
Nodding
They
your
used,
head
they
over
used
there.
Game Fuel for that, and then they used when Modern Warfare 2 came out.
Yeah.
They used for Call of Duty.
Top 3 Call of Duty of all time.
It really was. Like
I'm not gonna give it number 1, but I'll give it top 3.
if it's a Call of Duty game and it's not the Modern Warfare franchise, I just don't care.
Hold on now. Black
Black
Ops 2 was the
Ops,
best game that Call of Duty ever created.
I think those two series just fight each other.
Let's go. Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2 is the top 3 in that order.
But you haven't played the most recent Modern Warfare yet.
I haven't.
It's fantastic.
I'll have to give it a shot.
Because
Maybe I can come by
because
after.
because it's a prequel. It's a prequel to the entire Modern Warfare. You start off as Price when he's a lot younger. It's like everything goes up to like right at the beginning of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Okay.
So like that's kind of what PS3 and Xbox 360 introduced was these higher scale games, higher budget, the marketing for these. Like I remember the Madden commercials were getting so much crazier with like I remember Paul Rudd and I can't remember his name. We're doing a Madden commercial together where they were playing against each other. Like Need for Speed games started getting bigger. Gran Turismo started getting bigger.
All right.
Everything up the ante.
Your favorite Need for Speed game? Go.
Underground.
The original Underground? Or Underground 2?
I never played Underground 2.
You never played Underground 2?
No, I did not.
Hot Pursuit 2.
Hot Pursuit, the series Hot Pursuit was alright, but the best Need for Speed game was Most Wanted,
Okay.
in my opinion. Let me check.
I feel like
Why check it?
but I feel like all of these racing games pale in comparison to Midnight Club 2 Dub Edition.
Dub Edition, boy.
Yeah,
I hated Midnight Club.
I loved that
Shit
game.
was
Just
wild.
That was back in like the early Fast and Furious days where people were just wanted
Right.
to put spinners on a car because they could like do it.
Yeah.
And neon lights and like flames.
That
on
was
the side.
Underground 2. That was Underground 2. That's exactly what you could do. You could get a Hummer and put like 36 speakers in the trunk. All right.
music
So
slapped
like
that one.
sales base, Most Wanted, best Need for Speed, and then on down the list, Underground 2, Carbon, Hot Pursuit, Underground 1, Most Wanted, Hot Pursuit 2.
I mean, you can't really tell like quality by sales though.
I mean, if it's a good game, people buy it.
false. Absolutely false.
What, you think people would just buy bad games?
I think
Or
you
people
can buy a
ignore good
game.
games?
How you go buy a game before you know it's bad? I know tons of people are going to buy Sword and Shield.
I refuse to buy a game until I've seen reviews on it.
I'm that way now, and I'll explain that once we get into the
Fucking
the
IGN gave
PS4,
Sword and
Xbox
Shield in
One.
95. If you were just a non-Pokemon fan consumer,
I refuse to believe mainstream companies' reviews on games because I know they blow dick for money.
they do blow dick for money.
I will go to like
Reddit.
small YouTube channels or
Yeah,
reviews
that's the best.
on Reddit or something like that before I believe anything IGN or fucking Game Informer or any of those put out, because they get their paycheck by
That's true.
jerking off big companies.
That's true. But the point still stands. You can't base quality games on numbers sold. You just can't, because
I mean, Minecraft is incredible and it's the number one game of all time.
I mean, we can all agree now Minecraft is the number one game of all time.
Yeah.
And it's also fucking incredible.
I'm not saying it's not incredible.
And
That's a
the-
fact.
And it's like one of the
I mean, why would I
It's the
say it
best-selling
wasn't?
game of all time, and it's the number one rated game of all time. How that completely debunks your argument.
It doesn't debunk my
I think
argument.
what he's trying to say is simply just because a lot of people bought it doesn't mean it's the greatest, but it is the exception in Minecraft.
Is
but
an
let's say-
exception.
Tetris
Yeah.
is number 2. Is Tetris a bad game?
I
It's
mean,
not fun.
Bullshit.
I mean, I don't leave work and be like, oh my god, what am I going to do? Let's go play some Tetris.
Have you ever seen like championship level Tetris?
Yes.
It's so hype, dude. It's insane.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna I'm gonna say something nice about you, even though I'm angry at you. You are an informed gamer. You are.
Okay.
You're a smart gamer.
Okay.
You look at small reviews because you understand that big reviews will lie just because those games are putting money in their pockets.
That's a fact.
You are a minority.
I'm a white male. I'm the majority.
Okay.
You're in the
can cut
minority
that.
of
That's kinda
informed
racist.
game.
Do you remember when Star Wars Battlefront came out?
Oh, the newer one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 or whatever it was.
The
And, like-
first one, when EA got
The first two.
absolutely fucking roasted on Reddit.
Oh, you talking about that one?
Yeah, it was the single most downrated comment of all time
Yeah.
on Reddit when somebody asked
still is.
why they could
Yeah.
not
It
be.
still is the
like-
sense of satisfaction for completing the game. You know, fucking on the same strand, the most recent Mortal Kombat did the same thing. I think Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah. I saw a lot.
It's
of
I know
that shit.
somebody did the math on it.
It's already
You'd
like
have to
$35
spend-
in the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
You'd have to spend almost $2,000 on that game to unlock everything if you didn't just play through it and slog through.
Fucking wild.
Because all of the microtransactions to unlock just the main characters and like all of the maps and characters was almost $2,000.
That's insane. Like who's got that kind of don't get me wrong. I hope in the future I'm the kind of guy that has that kind of time on my hands.
But the problem is there are people that bought it,
yeah,
and the few people that have bought it are the ones that are driving the companies to keep doing it, because the few people that buy it outweigh all of the people that don't.
yeah, it's
Because
like,
it's so high of a price point that they can justify continuing to charge the hundreds or so of people that buy it, because it offsets the difference in money that they would lose on the thousands of people that
Yeah.
wouldn't buy it.
yeah. I was gonna wait till we get to PS4, Xbox One before we started talking microtransactions and but like yeah, it's a lot of these games like lately are like they're made for whales. You know, they're like play to win or pay to win. Excuse me.
Yeah, pay to win.
Yeah, pay to win. Where it's like, and not just pre-order perks either. It's like, if you want to just go ahead and get the last thing that would take 1,000 hours worth of gameplay, go ahead and hand us another $50 right now. It's like,
Yeah.
It's the instant gratification generation at its finest,
Mm-hmm.
and it's ruining the video game universe.
Let's dial back a little bit.
Sure.
Back to the 360 PS3 era. Did you said you had no system in this gen, right?
I didn't have a PS2 or an Xbox.
Okay.
I had an Xbox 360 and a PS3.
Okay, that the previous gen. Got it. So this gen you had. What did you play anything on the PS3?
I played a shitload of PS3.
Okay.
I would still play the PS3 if I had one. It's my favorite console of all time, and it's never going to change.
I have one. I got the launch date that plays PS2 discs.
Hell yeah.
I still play Super Rub-a-Dub till this day.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we had both also, but I played the 360 way more because that was the first Xbox 360 had. That was the generation that Final Fantasy 13 came out, which is one of the worst Final Fantasy games.
Unless you count all of them.
Boy, you ain't even played them. So
I played the one with the soccer.
That's
Final Fantasy 10. That's like the third best Final Fantasy game of all
I
time.
didn't even like it. I don't like turn-based games, other than Pokemon.
Again, you can't really have an opinion.
That's why
if
I
you
never
haven't
played like Fire Emblem or any of the other JRPGs besides Pokemon because I just don't.
Fire Emblem's RTS anyway.
Okay, so you.
I'm shit at strategy games. I don't like turn-based, so JRPGs do nothing for me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you actually might like 15. When I let
That's
him,
the open world RPG,
Yes.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes. So when
That'd
I
be
let him
something I'd be
borrow it-
willing to try, but I'd feel like weeb trash if I played it. So
No, man, it's really something you ought to dive into. It is like that one is. It's
you know what I want to dive into? A pool full of liquor.
Okay.
Shoutouts to Kendrick
Okay,
Lamar.
I tried to let it. No, I'm not gonna go.
You tried to let it go, but
Yep.
you're not going to. Go ahead.
How can you
Try
say
it.
you feel like weeb trash when you watch anime?
You
but
watch
you
anime?
Don't play like Japanese in style video games. Would you say you're weeb trash for watching anime?
No.
Well, then why would you say you're weeb trash for? Thank you. Would you say you're weeb if you don't?
How many anime themed body pillows do I have?
I don't have any of those either.
Zero.
But I'll
Yeah.
play an RPG.
I'm not even gonna start talking about your Android 17 picture. Your figure.
Okay, he
don't
got
even
you there.
don't even take me there, boy. I will.
I was in a
I
dark
will-
place, and now she is in a dark place. She's in the top drawer. She stays there.
Until you're horny.
He fucking got your ass on the.
I'm gonna turn this mic off for a second here, man.
I know this is off topic, but if you are an enjoyer of anime, I would not say you're weeb trash for enjoying anime. So why would you say I'm weeb trash for enjoying Japanese style RPGs?
Because I don't like them.
The truth comes out.
So what is that?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna
So-
lie about that
yeah.
shit in the first place. I just don't like JRPGs.
Okay, so you just don't like the turn-based style.
I'm shit with strategy games. I'm shit with turn-based games other than Pokemon, and I just have there's no appeal in them for me.
I say you have a lot of Pokemon knowledge to where you're very good at the game. It's the same thing.
Except it's people instead of made-up animals.
I like the animals. I don't like people. I'm antisocial.
Kimari's
I would
an
rather.
animal?
He's a Ronso.
Okay, sure.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's Final Fantasy
Furry.
10. It's
He's a furry.
It's the big furry tiger.
Oh, so
blue
you're a
tiger.
furry.
We're cut that out. Don't
No,
even,
we're not
don't
cutting
even
that
put
out.
that
We're not
evil
cutting
into
that
the
out.
Is any
universe.
of this really going to be edited out? I feel like it doesn't.
No,
need to
this
be.
is going all
it just,
uncut.
It just needs to be raw.
Yeah. So yeah, rewind back. That was the first gen that Final Fantasy 13 was released on Xbox. When 13 was on the 360. So at that point, I didn't even really need the PlayStation for that era because some of the biggest things I played, Kingdom Hearts didn't have a PS3 installment because 2 came out on PlayStation 2. Chain of Memories was on the Game Boy. 358 Days Over 2 was on the DS. So 3 didn't have its own Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, then they ported Chain of Memories
To the
forward,
PS2.
to the PS2,
Yeah.
and then Birth by Sleep was the PSP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have a game that I specifically needed the PS3 to play. I wasn't super big on Resident Evil. I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 on the 360, and all the things I needed to play, like all my favorite franchises, I could play it on the 360.
You know my favorite franchise of the PS4 or 3 was rather
What?
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden was a good franchise.
Sigma.
Ninja Gaiden Sigma 3. One of my favorite games of all time. I would go buy a PS3 today just to sit down and play Ninja Gaiden.
When's
3.
the last really good Ninja game that they've made? Have they really made one since
I don't
then?
know if they've done. Did they make a fourth one?
I want to say they did.
Like, that series was really popular. I don't know why
Yeah,
it just
no,
kind of
it's
faded.
It's like Tecmo doesn't make a whole lot.
Yeah.
But that's one thing they make good. To me, that feels like it was like Sekiro kind of maybe rode its coattails
Yeah.
a little bit.
That was a little more samurai, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it was. or ninja.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that's kind of like what Sekiro Shadow Die Twice was
Yeah,
just
like a spiritual successor.
yeah, it was like a Ninja Gaiden version of Dark Souls.
Right.
Apparently, people are saying that Neo was like the successor to Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, okay.
Ninja
Which is
Gaiden's actually
free.
Neo is actually free this month on PlayStation, and you should grab that shit because I think you get some decent viewers on Twitch from that.
Yeah.
That game is so good, dude.
I'd like
It's
to play
insane. It's such a good game.
it. Yeah. Any thoughts on the PS3 era wrapping up? I'm gonna pull up the top selling Xbox 360 games of all time, which I think they are.
Yeah, they weren't really all that popular, but
Oh, we missed the big one. Okay, and we forgot one of the biggest series franchises. It didn't start with the 360, but it got very, very popular. And this is actually going to be a double part of video game episode because of how much we like it and how much there is to cover. So we're going to start off the next one by talking about the Elder Scrolls series, which, of course, Oblivion is my favorite of the 5, but the big one for the 360 era, of course, being Skyrim. And we can talk about Skyrim and how crazy leading up to that launch was and just the effect it has on video game community. Yeah, so stick around. This is the end of part 1. There is an entirely separate episode, part 2, video games with Andy Washburn. So, yeah, come back.